Academic programs for gifted students here in New York City may be in danger tonight following a recommendation by a diversity panel to phase out the programs. Mayor Bill de Blasio commissioned the group and says he's now weighing their recommendations. Chief breaking news correspondent Trace Gallagher is on the case for us. Good evening, Trace.
Good evening, Shannon. And considering New York Mayor Bill de Blasio created the school diversity panel, some believe he will lean toward accepting the panel's recommendation to get rid of the public schools' gifted and talented programs. The argument the panel makes is that these types of programs perpetuate racial inequality because they're composed mostly of white and Asian students, and that those students come from families who can afford to get their kids tutored in hopes of getting a coveted seat. The school's chancellor says the test scores often reflect privilege more than intellect. Today on MSNBC's Morning Joe, de Blasio was pressed on that issue, but somewhat skirted the question. Watch.
Look, the panel was put together to address an issue that's facing American education. How do we diversify our classrooms? How do we address historic segregation in our communities that also obviously affects our schools? At the same time, I always say the central mission we always have to keep front and center is to keep improving public education.
But even the diversity panel acknowledges that you could end up hurting public education because if you ditch gifted and talented programs, you could very well lose gifted and talented students, leaving the school system lacking in talent and still lacking diversity. The diversity panel is also calling for New York City public schools to no longer use academic criteria to screen students for public middle schools. In other words, instead of grades, test scores, and auditions, they would look at dual language programs and programs designed to help at-risk kids. Some parents say that using academic screening standards can unfairly keep low-income Black and Hispanic students from desirable schools. About 73% of New York public school students are in poverty. Shannon.
Trace Gallagher, thank you very much for summing that up for us. So